Hi everybody, happy Monday. I can't believe we made it to the start of another week. This is awesome, this is great, and I'm hoping you guys just continue to have a full, abundant week, however that looks for you. I hope you see miracles left and right. So for the past couple weeks, have been having insomnia, and it's funny because it sounds really terrible, and it is. I absolutely don't want to have insomnia. But what was good about today is I actually ended up waking up early, about 5 o'clock. I meditated, I walked my dog, and then I just jumped right into the work that I needed to do. So I'm trying to put and see it as a positive thing because now I'm able to get running on some work. I'm able to get some stuff done that I wasn't expecting to get done at all today. And then hopefully when I finish all of that and power through, I can just rest and be with my family. That's definitely been a hard balance for me this month. And so I'm trying to create different time frames and schedules to be able to give more time to my family, especially my son. He's been such a rock star during all of this time of figuring out how to be in a new job, but I can see it's definitely taking a toll on him. So I definitely want to work better on that balance. So a few weeks ago, my niece asked a question that actually might wake you all up and made me really reflect. We were playing around, of course, and everything, and somehow the question popped up about what I'm afraid of. And because we were playing around, I said something like I was afraid of snakes, which I am, but I really thought about it after she asked the question of what I really am afraid of deep down here at the core of my heart. And I think something that's helped me be able to identify different fears in my life is the Enneagram. I know some of you have heard me talk about it, and I've definitely nerded out about it because it was a resource and a tool that has really impacted and helped empower me as a person and empower my relationships around me. I read the book Self to Lose, Self to Find is what it's called. And it's a perspective about the Enneagram, goes through all the 9 types, talks about the strengths of your type and then the weaknesses or places to improve, growth areas, stress areas, and I'm sure there's a ton of books out there. That was one I ended up having and stumbled upon, and it was a really great resource. It's a good starter for the Enneagram if you have no clue where to start, if you've never really addressed it before. There's other ones out there that I've heard to actually step back from if you're starting out and then progress to them, which is the step I'm at right now. So I really thought about that question, what am I afraid of? And my Enneagram number has really helped me identify a lot of those fears. And I'm a type 4. It's called the individualist or the romantic, which, yeah, those names definitely describe me. But a type 4, I guess I would say one of the fears that I have and that I've definitely been wrestling with this past week with depression is I constantly feel like something is missing in my life. And I had someone ask me what that meant exactly, and any type 4s out there watching, you can tell me if this relates to you or not. But for me, when I say that something's missing, it's like I have this puzzle in front of me and I'm putting all the pieces together. I'm making this picture that I'm hoping will just completely satisfy me, and I find that I'm missing a piece. And so I start to just frantically look for that piece instead of, maybe it's just one piece missing, instead of just looking at the puzzle and going, well, I've accomplished a lot, or look how beautiful this picture is. It's like something in me is so obsessed about that piece because for some reason it's like it's like I won't be able to be fulfilled because there's something important in that piece that's missing for the whole. And I don't know if type 4s out there watching this can relate to that, but that's a struggle that I typically have as a type 4. And so often that can lead to me being very envious of others. It can lead me looking for grass is greener type of situations constantly. And that can lead to a lot of depression, of just feeling like I'm missing something and being so dissatisfied. I've actually been learning that there's nothing wrong with being dissatisfied. In a way, it's very biological to help us be able to continue to plow through and achieve things that is unimaginable. But I think where it can become a struggle for me is I don't stop to, take a break. I don't stop to look around at what I've accomplished or to, smell the flowers, so to say. And so that's a big fear that I struggle with. I often have struggled with feeling like I don't belong and feeling really lonely and feeling like I've always been trying to find my group and I just have never found that. And that's another fear of a type 4, is wanting to connect, wanting to be understood, and then really struggling to find that. So this past week, I definitely had a lot of depression with those fears in my life. And it's helped to recognize that for whatever reason is just something that I constantly wrestle with. But to constantly have that feeling too, it doesn't feel good. And so I've been trying to find some ways and tips to be able to help me as a type 4 be able to just settle down in those areas of my fear, really recognize and identify them, and figure out how I can use the opportunity of my fears to grow and to learn and to just realize I don't need to keep looking around for something so frantically. So I actually stumbled upon an article this morning on some tips that help each type. I will put it in the comments so that whatever type you are, you can go ahead and read that, because again, I can only speak for type 4s, and I would love for you guys to share in your comment what your type is, what some of the helpful tips was for your specific type and your specific fear, and if you felt like you could relate to those, if you felt like it was something that could really help and benefit you all. But for type 4s, all of you out there, I read about 3 tips in this article that I have found very helpful. In fact, I've applied some of them prior to reading, but it was good again to get it as a reminder, since last week I just felt pretty depressed and cruddy. So the first one is to remember that you're already accepted, which is so hard for me. There's so many times I try to find that, and I've heard it in whatever, like to be accepted by God, to be accepted by whatever you call as your higher power. And sometimes I don't find satisfaction in that. And then I remember experiencing too, about a year ago, a moment where I had an interaction where I was working so hard to be accepted. I was being so insecure in the situation, and the interaction turned very rude, very sour, and something in me just snapped and was like, why am I doing this to myself? I'm already valued and I'm valuable, and I don't know why I'm looking for something that I already have. And that was such an empowering moment. And I noticed that something there in my life changed too, to be able to go, these are the relationships that I don't want to look for, that I don't want to connect with, because it just spirals me more into that fear. And I don't want to live in that anymore. The second, which has been the most helpful for me, is solitude. So type 4s, usually I've read that type 4s will try to find their value or who they are in others. And so because that's something that type 4s will gravitate towards, it means we often don't know ourselves. So to actually take time to step back away from people and to take that time to figure out who you are is very beneficial and helpful. That's actually why I've put meditation into my practice, because it gives me that opportunity to think deeply and to think deeply about who I am as a person, who I want to be, who I don't want to be, and whatever comments or assumptions or stereotypes that people have made about me, to really sit down and choose if that's what I want to accept or not. And it's been so beneficial to have that. Oftentimes I will hang out with people a lot when I'm super lonely, because it's kind of like a numbness and a way that I don't want to address that deep fear. And not that there's anything wrong with hanging out with people, but I notice that that's what myself as my type can do, is I will sometimes try to find ways to interact with people and hang with people so that I don't have to address that fear. And in a way, it really takes away what I'm looking for anyways, because I need that time to be in depth and not have surface level type of interactions. And so it only hurts me when I choose to cope with my fear that way. And the last thing, which I actually knew about, but the way that this was said just really stuck with me. So it said to practice gratitude, which I was like, yeah, that makes sense for my type, because I'm very envious. I'm always looking for things that I want or believe I don't have. But what this article said is practice gratitude for what's unique for those around me instead of focusing on myself. And that was awesome, because type 4s are often looking for ways to be seen and unique and everything. And it really helped me realize that I can find what's unique about everybody in my life. And I can also see that as a way to realize that nothing is really lacking at all when I really change my mindset on that and have a perspective of seeing other people that way. So those were the 3 advices that I was given in this article on how to help me as a type 4. If any of you are a type 4 out there, please go ahead and comment and tell me if you can relate to any of this, or if I'm just alone in that. I don't think I am. I think type 4s feel alone a lot, but we're not. So I know you all are out there. And again, I'll go ahead and put in the comments the article that I stumbled upon, because it has all of the 9 types. It has what your fear is, and then 3 different tips on what you can do to help with that fear. All of my love to you guys. Again, I'm sending my good prayers, my good vibes, my abundance, that you guys will just have an amazing week and that it'll be fruitful. Take care.